G'day guys and welcome to my tips for the final series week 1. I'm going to do the tips in a bit of a different format, a bit of a different way from now on, and you probably noticed when I did my final series video, which has done pretty well actually. I've just got the old screen capture out and I think it looks a bit better. Got some stats, got some numbers here and a little bit of past history as well, which just makes it a bit easier to justify to you guys why I picked who I pick and hopefully sort of condense down the tips. But we'll get stuck into it. Thursday night, first game's going to be a cracker. Adelaide, the Giants. Rory Sloane's 50-50 to play. It's going to be crazy if he does get up. But look, I think Crows and Adelaide Oval will be very, very tough to beat. They got the Giants earlier this year, as you can sort of see here. They did a number on them early in the year. I think if Rory Sloane plays, I'll be very, very tempted to tip the Crows. I'd say Adelaide by 22 points. If Roy Sloane's out, it would certainly probably come down to a one kick in it. I just think the Crows really have that great balance, and I don't really think the Giants are probably as hard as maybe some of the absolute best in the competition. And I certainly think they're right in that top tier, but I think the Crows certainly do match up pretty well against them in general. I think they've only lost to them once actually, so match up pretty well as a general rule, and I think they're just slightly tougher. At home is going to be a very tough ask for the Giants to get the job done there. They did beat the Swans at ANZ, so you know that can count for a bit last year, but I think their forward line can be a bit slow at times and not apply enough pressure. Crows will certainly Brodie Smith, Rory Laird off half back, Jakey Lever, they'll be loving life down there if the big forwards for GWS aren't marking. So I'm going to go the Crows by 22 points. And I just think they'll be a bit too good and skip to a prelim final. That week off will be very interesting to see how that goes. We've got the Tigers, the Cats at the MCG, be about 97,000 I'm hearing, so that's going to be exceptionally exciting. And Cats have won 20 of the last 21 against the Tigers, so an amazing record. That last loss was in 2006. That's been such a long time. And the Cats very recently got the job done over the Tigers, as you can see here, 14 points. A nice late goal to Richmond, making it a bit more respectable on the score. The Cats applied the clamps that day. They put in enormous pressure and had no Selwood, no Hawkins, no Duncan. So they'll be three big inclusions. Selwood's very likely to play. Scotty's basically declared him fit to play, so he'll be in the side. I am sceptical of our form on the G. It hasn't been great. We've lost a couple of games there this year, but also won a few games against the Hawks, which has helped. Other than that, and the Pies, so we've won 3, lost 2 there this year so far. My theory is I think we're a better side than Richmond to match up, but how we go on the dimensions of the G and how our system works with those dimensions and what kind of pressure Richmond apply, we're not too sure of yet. We know when Richmond are really on, they can really force you in that handball game, which creates more turnovers. But I think if you put Geelong's team sheet next to Richmond's, I think ours is probably, you would probably pick us, but it's about the attitude that they bring, how the sides come off the break. But pretty even Stevens here, as you can see, 15.5 wins to the Cats, 15 to the Tigers. Only because of our recent record, and I don't really know. I'll go in with confidence that we can win and should win. But in saying that, also got to give a lot of credit to Richmond. They've been an amazing side this year and really could be on top of the ladder, let's be honest, with a couple of results going against them. So I'm going to go Geelong by 9 points. Expect Richmond to play amazing footy and expect us just to sneak over the line, but I wouldn't be surprised either way the result here. I think the Stars of Geelong might just step up. Not saying Richmond's won't, but I think our Stars may just shine that little bit more and hopefully get a nice even contribution for everyone. But flip of the coin, that one. And this game here has got a little bit of an upset brewing from fans. The odds as I'm doing this Monday night right now don't suggest that, but we've got Sydney, the Bombers here at the SCG, and as we all know, early in the year, Bombers are up by 19 points with about 4.5 minutes to go, and then Sydney just out of nowhere, they got 5 scoring shots on the scoreboard in a matter of a few minutes, and they were just amazing that night. In the end, they got up by a fair bit. Bombers pegged back with about 8 goals in a row, and as you can see, a 1 point deficit there. Sydney had a lot of chances, as you can see there, with a few more scoring shots. But look, you have to pick Sydney at the SCG here. I reckon they're just so seasoned and they are built for finals. They've been in amazing form. They've only lost to Hawthorn since round 6, they've lost to Hawthorn. That's it. So they've been in an absolutely amazing touch. Mainly to because of that reason, but certainly think the Bombers are a massive chance in this one. With the Bombers' outside run, if they can clear it from congestion and not turn it over, they are going to be very hard to stop. They've troubled a few top 8 sides this year with their run and gun and getting in behind the defence of a few teams that have been caught off guard there. But look, I have to pick Sydney. It's going to be a very tough contested game. It's not going to get to the outside as much as what Essendon will like, but if Essendon are able to break it clear from the stoppages for their midfield, they'll probably win. So it'll come down to that and how much pressure Sydney apply. Well, we know that's going to be absolutely intense, as it always is, no matter home and away, no matter final. So pretty reasonable record from the Swans of late. Essendon do go alright against them at times, but I'm just going, well, not really when you look at that, the last few, but I would think the Swans will be getting the job done here by 24 points. It'll be a close one, but certainly think the Bombers are a big show in that one. And we'll move on to the final game of the first week of the final series. We've got Port Adelaide and West Coast at Adelaide Oval, and the Eagles are no strangers to winning here. They've won 5 of their 6 clashes here, and I don't think they've lost to Port Adelaide here. They may have only lost to Adelaide in that the 1 loss out of the 6 there. So look, that they're not afraid of playing here, and certainly not afraid of winning. So I think Port Adelaide have to win this one though. I think look, they've played some good footy this year. They haven't really beaten a top 8 side, as everyone's documented. They have beaten sides that have been top 8 at certain times, but then either eventually finishing up or not. They weren't in the top 8 at that time. So look, I think mainly because it's at home for Port Adelaide, and I think if their stars like Gray and Dixon can fire, they'll be incredibly tough to stop. And they've been pretty stingy in defence, and look at that, 1,671 points. Forgot to mention the Tigers as well, very stingy in defence. So Port Adelaide look like there you go, 3 of the top 4 defences right there. And Sydney, of course, they take out the chocolates. They never let you get a big score on the board. So look, they'll keep Eagles to a high score. You would suggest with that. Just on the road with the Eagles, sometimes they don't quite get the even contribution that they normally get. Sometimes just go by the wayside a little bit. But look, certainly give them a massive show here. I'm going to go Port by 3 points. I think it'll go right down to the wire, this one. The Eagles have just struck them by surprise a little bit at Adelaide Oval at times, but we're going to be very close. Eagles, big showing this one, but I'm going Port Adelaide mainly because it's at home, and they've played some good footy this year, it has to be said. They've travelled to some sides and been unlucky in a few close games with top 8 sides. So look, I'm going Port here, 3 points. So those are my tips for round 1 of the final series, guys. Hope you've enjoyed those. Feel free to chuck in your tips for the final series for week 1 in the comments below. Like the video away, it'd be great, and subscribe away for more of these. And let me know what you think of the new format, whether you'd rather me going through with the I guess the old screen share, or whether just the mug talking through it. I think it's much better. It's sort of less full on and less about me, and got some updates here as well, so it was good timing. I'll do that later. But yeah, look, certainly like this format. Hope you guys do too, and let me know what you think. Thanks for hanging around. I'll catch you guys all next time.